Welcome to the boating adventure. When I took the swamp duck out a couple of weeks ago, I had two problems with the Chinese diesel heater. The first was that the little fob wouldn't activate the main control panel. And I guess that the battery's been in there for such a long time that it's probably had its day and it needs replacing. So I've done a little bit of research and that's something I'm going to do. The second problem was the fact that I had replaced the plastic diesel heater tank with a new stainless steel metal one. And I thought that was going to be absolutely fine until I took it out onto the cut, and I soon realised that it was making a real noise. At first I thought it was something that had attached itself to the bottom of the boat, but it wasn't. It was the vibration being caused by the engine onto the tank, and it really wasn't making a right clatter. And I also think that the screws that I'd fit it with just weren't strong enough to hold it in place. It absolutely drove me mad. When I got to Fradley Junction, I had to try and do something to reduce the noise because it was getting worse as I was using the fuel up. So all I had was some tape and an old towel. So I made a pad from the towel and attached it to the tank with the tape. And that certainly did make a difference, and it wasn't as bad on the way back. So that was my answer. I need to work out something more permanent so that I can stop that vibration and reduce the noise, because it didn't help with recording either. So that's another job that I'm going to do. So this is the problem that I had when I was out with the boat. There's the metal diesel tank, and you can see that when I was at Fradley, the only thing I'd got was a towel, so I made it into a pad and I secured it to the tank with some tape, and that certainly helped. So that is my way to go, really, is to have something a little bit more permanent than that and a little bit more efficient. I also put some rubber washers between the tank and the bulkhead. I happened to have 4 rubber washers on the boat at the time, so I was able to fit them, and certainly it was quieter on the return journey. So that's my job to do today, is to try and make a more permanent solution. Before I can do anything, I need to take that towel off and all that tape. It looks awful, and I need to clean all of the engine well here and get rid of any grease, because the stuff that I've bought to try and solve this problem is self-adhesive, and it won't stick if there's any dirt or grease. So I need to basically get it clean, and that's why I couldn't do it until we had a nice dry day. Today is the day. Well, I managed to remove the towel. I just need to give this all a clean. It is a bit greasy on the bottom of that. I'm going to put some of the insulation that I've bought here and probably around it, and also on the back, and maybe on here, because that's where you get quite a lot of echo. And I may put some at the side, just depending how much I've got, and some underneath the cover. So that would help to sort of create a little soundproof box. So first of all, I need to clean it, and I need to remove this a little bit. I can move it out of the way. It's got enough hose on it to just drop it down a little bit.
well use the towel for something useful. These 4 screws that I put in, I'm going to replace those with some bolts. That way I can get it a lot tighter. These seem to work loose on the fiberglass. So in order to get some bolts in, I will have to remove the step the other side, which I'm well used to doing because every job that I have to do, I have to remove that step. So if I can gently ease this down, that's what I put on the back. I have got some more substantial pieces now. I've got some very large pieces of foam with a hole in, and I'm going to use those on the corners. These will give a lot more cushion to try and stop that vibration. These are the little bolts that I've got. I'm going to make sure that they go through the holes on the tank. They're going to go from inside the boat to the outside. That'll be fine there. I just need to make sure that the holes in the bulkhead will take them. I may have to increase that hole, it's not big enough. So a little bit of drilling there. The material that I'm going to use to try and insulate this tank and the engine compartment is this. It's made by Canopus. I sent for it from a well-known warehouse distributor, and it's a butyl sound deadening mat. It's quite hefty and it is quite expensive too. There are 10 sheets altogether, and that's what it looks like. That's one sheet, and it's obviously it's got a peel off material on the back here, so that comes off and it simply sticks on. And this is what you would use in an engine compartment in a car. So that's going to be surrounding the fuel tank. The other thing is it's fire retardant as well, so that's quite good for the engine bay. So it'll serve more than one purpose: deaden the sound and make it a little bit more fire retardant should it ever be required. So that's what I'm going to try and put on now. It's all dry. I've just had a look and it's all dry now, so I'm going to have a go at sticking this on. Wish me luck. Okay, so the first bit is going to go on the back of the tank, and then I'm going to have to obviously cut it to size. Then I'm going to put some around the edge here and some on the front. So I'm going to try and cover the tank first, and it just so happens that it's roughly the right size for that. Now it does say it in the instructions to try and press that down really as well as you can. It does suggest using a roller, but I haven't got one, so a cloth will do it. So there's now a sheet of this behind the tank, between the tank and the wall here. I'm now going to cut some of this to put around the side and one on the front. The strips need to be 9 centimeters. This did actually cut very easily. I thought it might be difficult, but it isn't. So one side done. Now the other side. Of course, the fuel tank rattled more as it got empty. When it was full, it wasn't quite so bad, but as soon as it started to empty, then it had problems. Now I've got to work myself around these bits here, so I might just have to cut that there just to make life easier. Now this little tube here needs to remain exposed because that tells you how much fuel is in the tank. This is like wallpapering with really heavy wallpaper. Now I've got enough to do underneath. So that can go under there. This is the third sheet, and these sheets are around about £2.70 a sheet. So it's quite an expensive hobby. But if it does the trick, it'll be well worth it. I couldn't live with that noise. I just have to put the plastic tank back, which I don't want to do. Makes this feel a whole lot more solid. think that was the problem. It was very, very flimsy before. And as the diesel swirled around inside it, then it added to the noise. It was like the tin was, it was like it was popping with a crack. That's certainly a different sound. Still get to the fuel. You can still see the indicator level at the side. It's got a completely different sound to it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to undo these screws again, take it off, cut that piece off there, and then I'm going to line this side of the engine compartment as well. So that should reduce some vibration there. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the step so I can drill from behind, put the holes through, put the bolts through, and then I can put those the other side of the bolt, and the tank will be cushioned on those, so it's not actually touching much of the side of the boat anyway. There are one or two holes here from when I had the previous tank. There's one there, and there's a couple here that got nothing to do with me, and one there. So they need filling. So I've got some water weld. I'm just going to fill all those holes up. This is what I tend to use for filling in holes. It's really good stuff. It dries very, very quickly, and it makes a really solid fill. And obviously it's waterproof because it's called water weld. You can actually do this in water as well. So if you're going to do anything on the bottom of the boat and it's in water, you can still use it. So very good stuff. And you just treat it like a putty really. You need to get it in your hands. It smells horrible. And then just mix it up well. It gets the different components mixed together. And then it just slots in there. I've put the pads on, got the washers on. Now I'm going to attach the tank. If this doesn't work, if this pad doesn't prove to be effective, then that will come off, and I'll just have it against the soundproofing here. I'm just putting some of this on the inside, help deaden the sound. Okay, so the proof of the pudding. It's very difficult to tell at this stage, but I'll have to move the boat just to make sure. But it sounds okay so far. Nothing rattling. And that doesn't look too ugly. Looks like it's meant to be there. So I'll put some of the insulation all around the tank. And it's got two layers at the back of it, and then it's got a layer the other side of the bulkhead there, and it's got a little bit either side in the engine bay, and then I put a little bit on the engine cover underneath. That was the princely sum of £27 worth of insulation. Certainly looks nicer than an old towel wrapped round with a few bits of tape. The other little job that I need to attend to for the Chinese diesel heater is to get this little fob working. I think that the battery is probably worn out and it wouldn't send a signal to the control panel. On the back there are three very tiny screws which need to come out. Once they're out, then we'll turn it back over and just open up this section here. Take that off very carefully. Then you can remove the button section. And that reveals the battery. So we just need to get that battery out. The batteries that are required for this are A27s alkaline, and you can get two in a pack. I had to send away for these because none of the local shops had anything like these. So it's just a question of popping that one in, replacing the buttons, turn the top back on, turn it over and replace these 3 minute screws. So if you've done that correctly, when you press the on button you should get a blue light. There we are, there's the blue light, so that should be working properly. The little key fob is now working, so that's one little job done. I'm going to see if I can just move the boat up and down the marina a little bit to see if I can make the noise that I made last time I took the boat out with that fuel tank. I don't have to go very fast at all because it's almost seemed worse when I was just above tick over. So it is absolutely throwing it down with rain, so I'm not going to go very far anyway, but we'll have a little go and see if I can create the same noise. If I can't, then I have been successful. It's all very quiet at the moment. The change of gear might change things if I put it into forward gear. Let's see what happens. That sounds really sweet. Peace at last has been restored to the swamp duck. I can't tell you how good that is. The sound was really awful. It reminded me of a song that a guy used to sing back in the day, and it's a song that he dined out on for all of his career, I think. He was called Bob Blackman, and he was known as Bob Tin Tray Blackman, and he sang a song called Mule Train. And as he sang it, he used to hit himself over the head with a tin tray. And that's exactly what the swamp duck sounded like the other day when I took it up the cut with the new Chinese diesel heater metal fuel tank. And I'm not sure what happened to Bob Blackman. I presume that he died some time ago, and he probably died of tinnitus. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video. Please give us a thumbs up, as it does help towards the YouTube algorithm, and that will help to increase the number of people watching these videos, and that'd be great. So thank you very much for your support, and as always, do take care.